Okay, we are back. We have officially reoccurring guests on the Big Brother Breakdown, so that's fun. We have Jess and MP. I'm Trey Alessio. This is the Big Brother Breakdown on Are You Entertained? Thank you guys for coming back on. It was fun the first time, so let's do it again.
Thank you for having us. We love to talk Big Brother any chance we get, so thank you.
This is our private chats.
Hell yeah. All right, so let's just kind of start with the bare bones for kind of the people who watch this as Big Brother, some of my friends. So basically just the bare bones. HOH went to Christmas. Davon and Bailey. I always seem to kind of forget the POV because partially it never gets used anymore. But Christmas won POV, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then today just got over the eviction. They voted out unanimous Bailey. So that's the bare bones of it. I personally have a lot of thoughts, but I know you guys watch the live feeds and have a little more juice and drama. So I guess let's start chronologically. I don't know the full details, but Jess was telling me a little bit about the wall yeller. So I really want to get your guys' thoughts on that. So I don't know if we want to start with a little bit last week and then get into this week. But tell me more about this wall yeller because I find it hilarious.
So somebody tweeted this. I assume it's a girl tweeted and said like I'm gonna yell over the wall, whatever. And what should I say? And then Evil Dick tweeted and said like say Cody and Nicole are running everything. And so lo and behold, you can hear in the live feeds, you can hear videos. The person says Cody and Nicole are running everything, and people heard it. Like Ian heard it. And I am usually very against wall yellers. Like I typically think in season, like don't intervene. Like that's really annoying, and that it usually never works for the person's benefit. However, this season, with all the pre-gaming going on, all these different things that happen behind the scenes beforehand, I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of for it. Like, if we're gonna cheat, we're gonna cheat. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, the wall yeller is playing way more than half these people, if not slightly more. So love that for them.
Wait a sec. So has wall yeller happened before? Not specifically this one, but that sort of thing has happened before. Wow, that blows my mind. I thought this was like a brand new thing. Like so that this has happened before.
Yeah, it's a couple seasons. They had in I think season 10 or is it season 10 where they had a banner. Somebody had a plane and they had a banner that said like Libra's lying or someone's lying, and I feel like often in seasons there's somebody that comes out as a wall yeller or something happens.
I'm exposing myself as lesser fans than you guys. Damn it.
Last season someone screamed that Christy and Tommy knew each other, but no one believed it. Like that's what usually happens. People are like, oh yeah, right. But this season Ian believed it. A lot of people believed it.
So clearly Thursday episode of last week was because I remember when you were texting me, you said that Ian was the one specifically who kind of is putting it together. And then the Thursday episode, I'm assuming it was after the wall yeller and he's putting everything together and he's telling Kesar.
Right.
So I just found that interesting. So when we go to LA sometime, we'll have to become wall yellers or something. Maybe we could scheme something up. You know what I'm saying?
I'm so scared. I don't know how wall yellers don't get like arrested or like caught for their actions. And they tweet it and nothing happens. And I'm like, is that just okay? Like, I'm surprised they can get away with it.
And it's because there's like backlash on Danny for it. For some reason, a lot of the house guests were like upset with Danny about it. And Evil Dick's the one that said what to do for the wall yellers. I think that's just so ironic that he like affected his daughter's game.
Yeah.
Leave it up to Evil Dick. And so are they cool, like father, daughter, they're not cool anymore. Okay. Because I know the whole beef, like back when they actually played together, but I didn't know if it got patched up or not. So, okay.
Yeah, about 10 years.
You hate to see that. All right. Okay, so we kind of talked about the wall yeller in last week. So now let's kind of get into the drama this week. So right off the bat, I think we should talk about Tyler and him wanting to go home. Now, I feel like it may be a different perspective from just watching the 3 episodes than the live feeds. So correct me if I'm wrong, but just me watching the episodes, it seemed like Tyler was sincere to me of him, feeling conflicted and wanting to go home and having a moral dilemma. Now, you were telling me something along the lines of, was it CBS fed him information or was feeding other people information trying to get him to stay? Tell me the backstory, I guess.
So, it's really hard for me. Okay, I'm a Tyler. I love Tyler. I loved him on his season. Like, I've loved him now. And so it's really, difficult for me to decide because I want to think he was, being genuine. Like, I want to believe that he was being genuine. However, the way that he reacted after the veto ceremony makes me question, even if he was, okay, let me start at the beginning. So basically, he went up, obviously you saw, he went up to Davon and Bailey and he was like, I want you guys to be here. You guys want to be here more than me. I want you guys have a bigger reason to be here. You are standing for something more important and I want to be part of that. And then for it to not happen, obviously that's going to come across really wrong. That's going to come across like you're using that to make yourself look better in the game. And I think that's really unfortunate. However, there's been rumors that production, he said that production had talked to him, Allison Grodner had to go and talk to him and convince him not to leave. I have a feeling she probably let him talk to Angela, and Angela is you better freaking stay, because he's in the last episode, he's I'm doing this for Angela. And it was so weird and not his character. It's just such a weird confessional to me. So I don't know. I think he did want to initially leave, and then he was easily talked out of it. They were oh, Tyler, no, you should stay. And then he's okay, yeah, you're right, I should stay. And then he didn't really care about their feelings afterward. He didn't really defend them afterwards. After literally telling them, you guys are both gonna stay. I'm doing this for you. It's oh, you guys were upset? I don't really get it. So I just think, I do think that he meant well. I don't think that he handled the situation well at all.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I didn't watch a lot of the feeds this week because it was just depressing, and I just really didn't feel like putting myself in that headspace. But then I saw that Tyler was trying to leave, so I was oh, let me cut it on. And so I can't, attest to the backstory before that, but I feel like that was such a random thing to come out of nowhere and be oh, I just want to go home. I want to leave. And I know there's been a lot of talk about, it's jury now. No one's going home anymore. And
right.
any if he was trying to leave, and I don't know if these housewives got paid a certain amount of money to be there, and he had gotten, to be there, and it wasn't maybe the cast he wanted or whatever. So he was trying to leave, and then, he put it on a certain thing, or maybe not. I have no idea. But that's kind of how I perceived it. And I hoped it was with good intentions. And I still hope it was with good intentions. I don't think it's my place to say if it was or it wasn't. Did it come off that way? No, based on, the outcome of things. And it seems a little ironic to me, and I know this is also the way the show forms it, but if Tyler really, which we all know Tyler has a lot of ride or dies, but if Tyler and Christmas were ride or dies, how interesting that they were on such different pages. And I don't know. I don't know if it was genuine or not. I don't know. But
I think in that he got a lot more of the hero edit than he really was. But I do think there was some genuine feelings towards it.
I think it was potentially genuine too. I do think he wanted to leave too, though. I think, he wanted to go home. It was pre-jury, it was the last chance. And I don't know. I heard everyone got 40K who was on there this year. And I don't know if that's true, but I heard that from multiple people. And a friend of mine mentioned to me that maybe if everyone got 40K, you'd think they'd want to play more, not less. So I don't know. What?
40.
40? That's what I heard.
Keisha went home with 40K is the impression. Yeah.
I mean, from what I've heard. So if that's the case, 40K is 10K off from the second place prize. So, you're getting what you could potentially get at the end. You would think that would make people push their game into overdrive. And so far I've seen the opposite. So I don't blame CBS for that. I blame these people. I don't understand why no one wants to play. And then for Tyler to leave, I'm like, good. You know what? This is the last chance. We've already gotten out Janelle, Kaser, people who actually really did want to be here to play. It really blows my mind that Tyler, if he didn't want to play, chose to take out, like, if it were me, I don't know because I've never been there, but I feel like if it were me and I thought, okay, I'm going to leave pre-jury, I don't feel like it, I wouldn't take out someone as iconic as Janelle. I feel like I would take out, kind of like a filler role out of these All-Stars, because there are some, and then I'd leave if that was my ideal motive. And he didn't do that. I don't know if he had like a break later and thought, okay, now I want to leave, and it was later in the situation. I don't know. But if it were me and I was going into next week, I would put Tyler on the block for sure, just for saying he wanted to leave. Like, that's so easy. You can go. Like, if he wanted to go last week, I would put him up every week now until he leaves.
Right. So again, this is me watching the 3 episodes. So here is my like defense if he were to be sincere, I guess.
Yeah.
And you guys would know it more than me, being in a house for, you guys were both on sequester, and being in a house like that with so many things coming at you and people telling you different things. And are they lying? It's paranoia? Like, I'm sure a million things happen. And I'm sure that messes with your head. And so this is going to kind of transition to maybe some of the deeper things that I want to say. When you have 2 Black women on the block, and I think it becomes a bigger issue whether you want to admit it as game or not, because I think it's clear David, Bailey, and Davon, they have kind of bonded together, and they want to have the first Black winner of Big Brother, which I'm rooting for. I hope it happens. I want that. And then with the whole Christmas drama and we haven't really got into that, and we will, but her kind of manipulating it to pin them as the villain and the victim, it just didn't feel right to me. Like, there's something, it got me fired up, and that's why we have this platform and I want to discuss it. I'm excited to hear your guys' thoughts, but it just felt like, and I really hate to bring race into it because this is a game, but this is a bigger discussion. These are the things that Kesar and Davon were talking about that I think are important. So I feel like it's a good time to bring it up. And if you guys don't want to talk about it, just tell me to shut up and we'll go on. But I personally think that moment was just a microcosm of what is going on in America right now. Like, it just felt like she used her white privilege to manipulate and pin something on Davon and Bailey. Like, she put them up. Like, they have the right to be upset, and then she played the victim. It did not feel right. It felt like it was a microcosm of something that's going on bigger in America right now. Something felt kind of icky about it. Did you guys feel that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard to speak on, really, because it's not, I don't know, it feels like it's not my place to speak on, but again, like you said, platforms are put here so people can talk about it. And I think it's an important conversation to have, but I think it's just hard to, there's so many aspects of it. And I feel like it's really hard for me to put into, a 30-second montage of me talking right now. But yes, I completely feel what you're saying. I completely agree. And I think most people see it that way too. I think it was very blatant and obvious, and it was gross. I don't know. We can get into a further discussion about it, but yeah, what Christmas did, icky. It was gross.
Yeah, I feel like we should absolutely talk about it, and I think as like 3 white people, like, it's actually something that we should definitely mention and bring up, like, because like we need to show that, like, this isn't something that only Black people should have to talk about. Like, there's other people that stand behind you and support you, and it's so disturbing to me, the treatment that these 2 girls had to go through in the house this week. Like, first of all, for Christmas to use the excuse, I'm gonna go on and rant here, but for Christmas to use the excuse of, oh, that's your untouchable, they have no allies in the game. Like, okay, they have one person, one ally. You have 5. You're in an alliance with 5 other people. You have 5 untouchables at this point in the game. So you're going to pick the person with 1 untouchable in the game and put them on the block and say that's the reason why? Like, that is an excuse, and that's unacceptable. I think people were feeding to Christmas to put them on both on the block, so it wasn't just her in her mind being like, you know what, Davon and Bailey, they're gonna go to the block. Like, Tyler was feeding it to her, Danny was feeding it to her, like, so in her mind she thought this is what the house wanted, but still just really a bad decision regardless. Like, I just think that was such a stupid game move. Also, Bailey was like, trusted you. She felt like this was a betrayal, so obviously she was never going to put you up. Thought she was working with you, so like, what? And then from everything to follow, like, for her to not respect what Tyler wanted, apparently Tyler was saying that's what he wanted, for her to be like, you know what, I'm not gonna do their dirty work and get Tyler out. She's saying that in this episode. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's not their dirty work. This was not their idea. Tyler approached them with it and said, hey, I want to be there for you guys. I want to do this for you. And then went and talked to Christmas about it. And Christmas is like, I'm not doing their dirty work for them. What are you talking about? It's not their dirty work. This is what Tyler was requesting. So I just think that although, like, I just think there's no excuse for Christmas to have treated them the way that she treated them. The fight was ridiculous. I don't know. I don't even know if we're at that part of the episode, but yeah, that's my comment.
Yeah.
No, it's so true. And I have a lot of thoughts. It's so hard for me to articulate my thoughts on this one, but I think you covered it very well. I think for Bailey to have shared with Christmas that Davon was her untouchable, they must, I mean, you wouldn't just tell it to anyone. There's very clear there was some sort of trust and connection there. And I'm sure, I don't watch these 24/7. I wish I had the time to do that, but I don't. So I missed that conversation, but I'm sure there was a bigger conversation had in which Bailey developed trust enough to tell Christmas that. So for Bailey to tell Christmas, that's my untouchable. Like, there's obviously some sort of trust there in the beginning. So for her to put them up is ridiculous. And then so far, and I don't mean to be shady, but Christmas was in Big Brother 19, and Big Brother 19 is pretty much known as the season of Paul, the puppet master, and, Raven, of course. And, no one did anything. The whole season was, oh, you want to go? Well, you can go. Yeah, and just easy ways out. Here we are now, right? And Christmas has even done this to Enzo. She's like, oh, you can put me up. You can put me up as a, a pawn. That's fine. So we're already seeing that, I hate to use this word because it's annoyed me in the past, but like sheep-like behavior. And here we are now, and Bailey and Davon are put up at Christmas, and here is Tyler serving himself on a silver platter, but this is the one time where it's no longer okay. It's no longer, oh, you want to go up, I'll put you up. She could have easily taken this time to align with Bailey and Davon, who, like you said, Jess, and it's very clear, have no one but each other to, like, really rely on. This could be her chance to get in with them, but instead of that, she's like, no, Tyler, you have to do your own dirty work. You can't just leave. Like, when in reality, in the past, these people have volunteered to be pawns all the time and no one cares. But now here's this moment where it suddenly is not gamely ethical, which is questionable and, out of character. So it's weird to to look at it like that, because it's happened a lot in the past and now suddenly it's a problem. That's weird.
Right. And so I guess just to land my ship, I got in with the Tyler conversation, and just to kind of bring it back around full circle to him, that's why it felt to me that it did feel genuine, at least in the 3 episodes that I watched, that with everything going on in America, with the overarching things going on in the house, even, that's why it felt like it meant more to him, and that's why it felt genuine to me when he went to them and said that. Now, if it wasn't, that's fucked up, and that null and voids this whole conversation, but it just felt genuine to me. I hope it was, and yeah, I just think it
too, based on, like, because I saw Twitter, like, everyone was tweeting like, oh my god, Tyler's trying to leave. That's when I was like, ooh, let me cut it on. So I think everyone believed it was genuine at first. Based on what I saw, no one was like, oh, he's lying. Like, I think everyone just believed, oh, he wants to go home. He got his money or whatever, behind the scenes stuff was happening. He really wanted to leave. So I don't think anyone was accusing him of doing it falsely until it didn't happen. And again, maybe Christmas didn't use it. You can't force her to use the POV if she didn't want to. If she put those noms, she wanted them to stay. But I feel like if it were me, and again, I've never been there, so I don't know, but I'm pretty confident that if it were me, I would feel so terrible, and I would just feel devastated and just destroyed. And I feel like, no one, ignorance is not an excuse. Everyone sees what's going on in the world right now. So for him to do that and then to just act like he's fine. Like, I've not seen him really like being upset or like doing any kind of damage control or anything like that. That's what I think leads people to being confused on his motives, because you would think that after that you would just be crushed and you would be doing everything you can to reassure them that that was your pure intention. You just had no control over that. And I don't feel like that's been shown. So I don't know. I feel like that's where the questionable part comes in. And I hope it's genuine too. God, I hope it's genuine, because that's disturbing if it's not. But I don't know. I feel like that's where people's confusion comes in.
I just feel like they deserve to have a conversation before the veto ceremony so that they weren't sitting there expecting that one of them was getting off. Like, there was ample time for Tyler or Christmas to go up to them and be like, hey, it's not going to be used. Or for Tyler after work to be like, listen, I am so sorry. Like, production didn't let me, or whatever the reason was, Christmas, whatever the actual reason was. Like, he owed them an explanation because he told them they were getting put off. Like, you owe them an explanation of why they weren't going to be that, what you weren't following through with that. So that's what I'm upset about. And I do think he was genuine. I do think he wanted to leave. Like, he has said multiple times he wants to go home pre-jury, or everyone's been talking about how he's been losing a lot of weight. Like, I think he really did want to go home. I just think he handled it really wrong.
Yeah. No, I think that too. And I don't know. I feel like with Tyler and Bailey's past too, you would certainly think that he would handle the situation more carefully. And you would think he would want to reassure her more that he was not playing her based on their past experience together. If you just look at it even from that aspect, I don't know. You would think he'd get more reassurance, but I don't know. Some people just aren't built like that. I mean, that's no excuse for certain things, but I don't know. Maybe he's just really bad at expressing himself, but I've never seen that to be the case in the past watching him.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Cool. And then, okay, so staying on just a little bit of the deep talk train, and I don't know much more about this. I just kind of saw floating around on Twitter, so you guys might be able to comment on it more. I saw some stuff about Ian, and I don't know where that came from. I saw it was Memphis. I could be wrong. But so did some people call him weird or something? And then everyone was I saw other people defending him, and he came out that he was autistic, and I applaud him for coming out as that. That's awesome that he admitted that. And I mean, he's a former winner, so I mean, he's a stud in his own right. But so explain that. Who kind of perpetuated that? What's the juice with that, I guess?
Do you want me to start? You want to get into that, Jess?
You go.
Oh, I think Jess has a deeper thought on that, which, unless you don't want to share it, but like I think like I don't know. Ian is one, and even in the past, like I think Ian going up against Dan, like if you just look at it from Ian versus Dan, like Dan was this mastermind player, and as a child, I thought Dan was this like con artist, and he was so bad, and I didn't want him to win. And looking back on it, I can respect that he played an amazing game of Big Brother, which we don't see now in the modern seasons. We don't see any lying or backstabbing, really. That's kind of become an outdated thing. So I can appreciate that. But I can also appreciate Ian. And I think it was really brave of Ian to come back, because, I mean, you've already won. I mean, you're not going to come back. I mean, unless you win again, you're not going to come back and, quote, do better. But, like, it's just, that's an amazing thing to do. And to come back and say, like, the things that he said and bring awareness and like to represent that platform, I think is so great. And I think he's done it so well. I feel really bad for him, because I know I've seen feed updates where he's been like, oh, I don't want to like rock in the hammock too much because that annoyed people in my season. I know there was a whole entire segment devoted to Ian in Big Brother 14. I think that's when he was on, where everyone was calling him weird, and everyone thought like his behavior around the house was like, everyone was like rubbed wrong by him. And I think he was trying not to annoy anybody. So for them to say that this time around, knowing what he's been through, knowing what he's expressed and opened up to them in this house, and this isn't even like a short-term game. This is like 100 days that you spend with these people. I mean, you grow a bond. So for you to be able to like make fun of him behind his back, and especially when he's representing something like that, and so bravely and so great, like I just hate that. I think that's really nasty.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it's really upsetting and sad to see them make fun of somebody so sweet like Ian, who he literally asked production if he won HOH this coming week, if he could give up his HOH letter from his family so that Cody could have a letter from his family, because he feels so bad about everything Cody's going through. Like, Ian is such a kind soul. He's such a great guy. He's never made fun of a single person in this house. So for them to make fun of him is just so unacceptable. And really like out of place. He's also really nice to them. Like he thinks he's friends with them, especially Nicole. Like he like him and Nicole, like he thinks are close. So it just was really upsetting to see that behavior from them. And yeah, I just think it's unacceptable. I saw though that Matt Hoffman tweeted. Matt's my friend, so I want to kind of defend his stance, and I agree with it. He said something like about how we should let the players like okay, I don't want to misquote him, but basically what I read his tweet and then what I got from it is Ian might not want to be defined by his autism. Like he is autistic and he said that. It in the conversations that he's talked about, he seemed to like struggle with talking about it, or he's wanted to keep it like when he said he started, he was like, you can tell, right? Like I'm autistic. Like it seems like something that he doesn't want to constantly be having to talk about. Right. It's something that's part of him, but it's not him. It doesn't define him. He's not the autistic guy on Big Brother. And like all these news articles are now coming out like, oh, poor Ian Terry being like the autistic guy that's being made fun of. And like that's becoming like what everyone's talking about with him. And like, that's not really fair to him. Like maybe he doesn't want everybody to talk about his autism constantly or the fact that he's being made fun of. Maybe he doesn't want that to be a huge news story. And the fact that we're talking about it is tough. However, I get the other side of it that people want to bring light to this and people want to bring light to the fact that autism is so amazing. My mom is a teacher with kids who have autism. Like I'm around kids with autism all the time and I see how brilliant they are and how incredible they are and how sweet they are and kind. And we see that Ian as well. So I get wanting to defend that, but I also get not wanting to define someone by their autism. So I feel like it's tricky that it's being brought up all the time and like everybody's like going in about this topic all the time. However, I do see that people like the good side of it, that people are wanting to like teach people the right way to interact and discuss and talk about autism. So
right.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think I think it's really brave. I think it's coming back as a returnee too. You know, he's like, oh, you've seen me play before. Like, you know, I've won. Like, you've seen this. That's probably why he felt comfortable enough to say that. And I think that's so amazing. And I think a lot of the people that have brought awareness to it, there are some, and I want to be really, really careful about how I say this, but there's some extremists a little bit. And I think there is a way to acknowledge who Ian is, the great things he represents, but not define him by those things. And I think it was really brave of him to express that to us as a fandom. And I think I saw, and a lot of people were clocking this earlier, I don't know whose article it was, but they said something like Big Brother house guest mock autistic Ian, and that is so gross. Like it does not have to be autistic Ian. Like that's so disgusting.
Right.
I think we can all collectively agree that's gross. There should be definitely, I think he should be acknowledged for who he is, what he represents, and how freaking amazing he is despite any of that. And, you know, it doesn't have to be his defining feature. He can be defined by so many other things. He's one of the only 2 winners in that entire game. Like, there's so many things that could define him. And like you said, just he's a kind soul. He is trying to, you know, be there for other people. And it's not game, it's genuine. And he's a good person. So.
And I'm sorry, like, Ian's rocking is bothering you, but Christmas talks about herself 24/7, and she tells stories that are 25 long, and that's not bothering you. But Ian sitting there quietly, sweet Ian just sitting there kind of rocking and trying to get along with everybody is affecting you. Like, or Nicole.
What about Nicole crying?
Like,
yeah.
I'm just shocked, honestly.
Crying every day, not annoying? Like every second of the day, that's not annoying? Interesting. It annoys me.
Right. So I find that interesting, that conversation, because I recently I'm a screenwriter. I think you guys know. And I listened to a screenwriting podcast, and the one that I just listened to, they had a person with disabilities on and kind of talking about, because when you write a script, you have to use descriptors. And if you're writing somebody with disabilities, that whole thing. And I found it very enlightening, the person that they had on. So this is how I understand it and how I would bring it to Ian's situation, if you will. He's a person with autism. Person always comes first. He's a person with autism. And I would view it as that's his superpower. I mean, I hate to bring this to Kanye West, but just bear with me. Like, in one of his songs, Kanye says that being bipolar is his superpower. That if, you know, I would I would chalk it up to that. And I would always say that person comes first. He's a person with autism. Let that be your superpower. I like Ian. I'm rooting for him too. I'm rooting for the underdogs in this season because the mob mentality. I love mafia shit. I'm an Italiano, I have to admit, but it's just boring as shit. In yes, so I don't know. I'm rooting for the underdog. I want Davon to win straight up. That's who I'm rooting for to win. So yeah. Okay. I guess I have two more little bullet points, and then we can talk about whatever. But number one, we can lighten the mood a little bit. Who do you guys predict to win HOH? It was an endurance comp when we hopped off the episode. Who do you think will take it home?
That's literally what I'm upset about. I'm reading the updates as they happen. Y'all don't even want to know.
Don't even tell me it's already over.
No, but it may as well be.
It's probably down to like what, 2 people or something, and
no, everyone's still on except for 3 people.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Who is it?
It's horrendous. Do you really want to know?
Yeah, well, is it okay, Trey?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, I want to know.
3 people are out so far, and they're the have-nots for the week, and those people are Davon, David, and Ian.
Wow.
So that's depressing. I won't be probably watching much of this week unless Kevin wins. Kevin is the only other option.
Yeah. Oh my god! And the thing is, Davon looked so focused when the episode was ending. I saw her, and she was so determined. She was so focused, and I was like, "This queen is winning." But I'm telling you, mark my words, this isn't over yet. Danny is gonna win because she always wins these endurance comps. She won her walk comp on her season. Danny's gonna win, and maybe she will go after Tyler, which I like Tyler, but like at this point, like he's got to go. And Davon Skyby, that would be amazing. I want Davon to win too. That's depressing, but
Memphis also was just eliminated.
That's fine. Memphis. Sorry. Speaking of this, a side comment. My least, and this is probably uncalled for. I don't know why. I honestly don't know where these feelings are coming from. MP already knows I'm gonna say. My least favorite person on the whole show is fucking Julie Chen. And excuse my language. Oh my god, my mom watches these. It's what Julie does to me. She makes me swear. Like I cannot stand her. She has a crush on Memphis. Like the one thing Bailey comes out, the one thing she asks for commercial break is, by the way, would you call Memphis? Like, what? That is the first question. That is the first word Bailey hears after leaving the house is, what did you call Memphis? Like, obviously she called him a grandpa. He literally is a grandpa on the show. Like, that is relevant. That is known. Like, and then really so awkward. Like, me and FP were talking about how Arissa is just such a queen and would have just done so much better when Julie was like, we are so sorry for the California family. And up next, the battle. And I was like, literally.
The transition was subpar.
I'm like, can you pretend to have feelings for a single second? It was so uncomfortable and weird. And I'm like, I felt like I just got in like a car accident and had whiplash. It was so nice. That was a little Jim for all of you.
Oh my god, that was lovely.
Do we also like Memphis has done nothing since week 1, especially on episodes, but does he do more beats? I don't know.
No, he does nothing. He's cold all the time. He had like this is the update of Memphis. He started the season right. He like won HOH and he had like whole thing. Then he got really cold and he's cold every day. And then he had a little bit of a back problem. And then he got his back problem over with. And now he's still cold. And then he sleeps. He slept through like that whole fight, I'm pretty sure, with Christmas and Donna Bailey. Like, he's literally just the grandpa of the season. And he's probably going to win, which is unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. Big Brother, the people who play, I feel these days, are not searching for the same things in a winner that I feel like past people have. Like, for example, like, the Big Brother 10 fight where Dan Giesling like laid on the couch and like read the Bible. That's so different than this fight where Memphis sleeps. Like it's not the same. It's not
Memphis slept because he was unbothered, didn't care. Dan slept because he was a social king who was staying out of the fight. Memphis just is like sleeping.
Yeah. And for Memphis to continue referencing Dan, I'm surprised he doesn't take more of a page from his book. But you know,
both great points. So I had this thought the other day, and I thought it might be a good little like question to bring up. I think it might be fun. So I don't know. I don't want to say like multiple seasons, but it just feels like this season in particular has been boring. I don't know. We talked about the mob mentality. We talked about how one group gets power, stays in the power, and then they just pick off and they don't make waves. They don't get blood in their hands. And honestly, if we're gonna be real about it, like the past couple seasons have been that way. So my question to you is, I think it's fair to say we all love this game, Big Brother. But is there an underlying problem with Big Brother, like in terms of gameplay? Like, does it come down to the players competing? Do you think there needs to be a shift in the twists? Do you think that they need to start in duos? Do you like something has to happen where they shake it up? Like, I'm tired of this boring shit.
Oh my God, don't even
What do
get
you
me
guys?
started. Don't even get me started. I
Alright.
think the biggest twist Big Brother could do is not having one. I've said this from years past. I sent Big Brother an email a long time ago, and I was like, "This is my favorite game in the world. It's my favorite show. Stop doing these twists. They hinder the game. They don't help. If you don't do a twist that helps, that's fine. But these twists that we've seen in the past 6 years, they do not benefit the game at all. They either hinder the game or they do nothing to the game at all. Like they're promotional things, for like outside stuff. So like I just don't see the need for twists anymore. Big Brother at its core is a social experiment. And that is why we all fell in love with this from the beginning. We love the gameplay. These twists hinder gameplay. Like I don't see the need for them. And I understand that like, as shows go on, you need to do different things to like entice an audience. We're a loyal fan base. Super fans are not going anywhere. I don't see the need for twists. I really don't. I think the twists hinder gameplay. I think they scare people from playing as much as they could. I hate twists. I wish we could have a season where there is no twist. And if there's gonna be a twist, my God, make it a good one. But there has not been one in a long time. And as far as casting is concerned, cast me, cast super fans, cast people who care, like cast people who actually know what Big Brother is. And that's no shade, that's just the truth. I think if and I understand some super fans are like a lot, but like you can, like if Big Brother's worried about casting like major super fans, which whatever, you can cast a medium. People have at least heard of Big Brother who love it for its core and can bring it back to its roots. It has so much potential. I hate that this All-Star season has gone like this. I don't think CBS intended for this to go that way. I really don't. I think they worked with what they had. A lot of people couldn't commit for different reasons, and I think they did the best they could. I hate it hasn't turned out better, but I don't know. I hope for better in the future. There's a lot of people who really want to play. So.
Okay, I have so much to say, and please stop me because I literally been ranting this entire podcast. Like,
Oh, it's all good. I like it.
We love it.
But my first thing, I'm going to totally contradict MP, which is very unlike me. Not only do I think that they need twists, I think they need a whole new platform. I think the platform is dead. Like, something's going on because it has become mob mentality year after year after year. We've gotten stuck in a rut, so we need to change something up. Obviously, like our season of Sequester, there were so many twists and so many changes. Like it was so hard to stay in a single alliance. We need something like that where you can't just have one alliance just run the game to the end. That wouldn't happen in previous seasons because there was so much drama and so much backstabbing. But like society has changed. We don't appreciate backstabbing as much. We don't appreciate being lying and being fake, and like that type of gameplay isn't happening anymore. So we need to change something here to make like it's still exciting for everybody. And I think that's a problem. And also to go along with casting, number one, yes, cast MP. Somebody like MP. I'm about to like shit talk casting, so they're not gonna cast me after this. But like cast someone like MP. She's amazing and she loves CBS and she never talks to me about CBS. But for somebody that sometimes says, which also I love CBS and please cast me too. But they are casting.
Now there's a twist. My God.
But they're casting people that have never seen the show. So obviously their feelings are gonna get hurt when somebody's like, oh girl, we are totally working together. And then they put them like, then they backstab them because like, I mean, obviously I'm not talking about this situation with Bailey and Christmas, that's completely different, but I'm talking about somebody like Holly Allen, 24, Wyoming, who literally said, oh, I was walking down the block and they were like, hey, you want to audition for Big Brother? And I'm like, sure. She literally said that in an interview. Like, yeah, obviously she's going to get upset if someone turns against her. She doesn't know the game. She doesn't understand the game. Where somebody has like Tyler, somebody who is a super fan of the game, like Danny, like they're gonna be a villain of the game, but they're gonna know how to backstab and they're gonna know how to like do certain things. And don't get me started with Danny, because obviously, and even Tyler this season, but like people like them who came on the show being super fans their first season, they got it. They understood how to play the game. And so if you had 20 people, or not 20, 16 people like that on a season who all understood the game and wanted to be there and wanted to play, I just think it would be so much better. Like if you casted people on Twitter, like Mel Brown and Mary Peyton and like Taryn, and you put them all in a season, could you imagine how iconic that would be? Amon, like, oh my God.
Oh my God, that would be so great. I completely agree with Jess. I want to preface, so true. See, in modern day Big Brother, no offense to modern day Big Brother, it hasn't been beneficial twist, and perhaps that's why I hate twists, because since you know, Big Brother 16, in my opinion, there's not been a twist that I feel benefited anything. It's been a twist like, oh, Gronk, the football player, is going to come in and make you guys go dance in the backyard. How does that benefit anything? Like twists like that, and then you know, the safety suite, or like even this thing in the dark they just did. None of our faves won, and I'm not saying it has to be that way, but I'm just saying these twists aren't. There's a problem. Big Brother, if you are watching, please God, the old like competitions were so great. The wall competition is a classic. I mean, even the food competition, just the stuff they used to do, even like how bad do you want it? You know, like the veto where they'd be like, oh my God, will you shave your head? Like, I mean, really hardcore stuff, which you got to cast hardcore players for that stuff. Like, that's what we want to watch. But instead, watching people stack up a cupcake, that's, it just doesn't, And there are twists I enjoy. And I think that's what, you know, just getting at too, like, Big Brother 8, like, you know, oh, you guys know each other, like Dick and Danielle, and, you know, Joe and Dustin, and all that stuff. That was so fun. And even in Big Brother 17, which is my favorite modern season of Big Brother, is, you know, the twin twist. That's so, and we've seen it before, but that was fun. But like a twist where it's just like, oh, a famous person comes in, they say something, and then we go play a competition. That's not enough. You know, it's just got to be something that pans out. I feel, you know, it's got to be interesting and it's got to be long term.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think you made a good point about society has changed. So therefore, I think Big Brother needs to pivot a little bit. I just think there's an underlying thing that needs to alter just a little bit. And I don't have the answers. I don't know what it is, but I just want to see it. So,
I completely agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I have. Do you guys have anything else you want to get off your chest?
Kevin was just eliminated from the HOH, so I'm sad.
Oh my God, no.
I don't even know who's left, but I don't really care. So
I feel like I could go on and on and on and on forever, but I'm not going to because nobody wants to hear that. But Davon's goodbye speech to Bailey made me emotional when she was like, "Sucks that you had to leave." But, like I'm getting goosebumps even like reenacting it, and I'm doing it so much worse than she did. But she was like, "I'm gonna make it like all the way to the end. Like I'm gonna make it to the past the end." That made me so emotional, and I was like, "Queen, iconic. We need to see it. We're gonna see it." Like I felt it when she said it. I literally felt it in my own body. Like that's how powerful it was, and I really think it's gonna happen. I'm so excited, and I want her to win so bad. I mean, obviously not HOH, she fell, but Queen of Social Game. I think she can work her way out of this.
I completely agree.
Go ahead, MP. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I completely agree. I want Davon to win the whole thing. I don't know about you guys' winner pick, but she's mine. And I do want to say I feel really guilty if I ever say anything bad about, you know, like Big Brother. I think it's my favorite show in the world, and without it, I don't even know where I'd be. And I know you guys feel the same. We love Big Brother, and that's why we critique sometimes. But I just want to make it clear that like I love this game more than anything, and I just want to see it succeed. And that's why anybody holds it accountable. Exactly. I think people hold it accountable because they want to see it do the best it can be. So this was totally constructive criticism.
Me too.
Be the best, go win the Emmy, and give us what we want. I think that's good. I want to say one more thing about Davon. The gif of her walking down and picking, was it Danny and Christmas? Whoever it was. Somebody put like fire in the background.
So iconic.
God, that was so awesome. Yeah.
It was good.
I was obsessed.
Yes. So, all right. Well, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for coming on. It was a blast. We got Jess, MP, and Trey. This is a Big Brother Breakdown. We'll be back more. Thanks.
Bye.